Hey, it's your favorite life coach, Daywand, here in DC. Now, thank you for joining me again here on Cloud Thrive on YouTube, building fail safes. Feeling a bit heavy today because I spent the week watching the first video over and over again. I was rambling. However, I did realize that there are a couple of gems in there that I wanted to dig deep into. I also realized that the video before this one, I needed to get the nerves out. I needed to get them out of me. I was supposed to be starting a YouTube video at the beginning of this year, and I never got around to it, and then I got cold feet and backed out over the summer. So, I'm here. I'm not stopping. I'm not backing down. We're here. And I appreciate you guys for joining me on this journey and this movement to build, rise, and thrive. Now, I want to talk about fail safes when starting to establish and achieve our goals. But before we get there, I wanted to address an email that I got from someone who shared that they believe in their personal truth that life coaching is a scam. And unfortunately, they may have had a rough experience in working with a life coach, but it is not the same across the board. I've been life coaching since before it was cool. Nobody knew what it was. And I did not understand what they meant. However, I did take a look at what they were talking about. I did not want to become defensive and respond. I wanted to truly just take a look at what they were sharing and gain a better understanding. And so I realized that as I am on social media, there are a lot of people who are influencers who come off as though they have the quick steps to become successful. Realistically, this is not the case. There are strokes of luck, and there are strokes in which our life can change drastically and dramatically for the better. However, working with a life coach is extremely important in so many ways that I find myself oftentimes working with clients who are transitioning in their lives. I specialize in a demographic. While I work with a number of demographics, I want to be very clear, I work with every walk of life just about. The one that's closest to me is working with low to no income families. I realize that working with a life coach can be straining financially. However, I started this not necessarily for that. I started coaching because I also faced adversity. And while I was able to elevate through that adversity, and I'm here today, it was not always this easy. It wasn't easy to get here. And I did have a lot of people in my life who poured into me, who shared those other aspects of where I could be successful, and I listened with a very careful ear. With that, I want to then segue into talking about the fail safes, because this is where I believe, in my personal experience, we miss the mark. Fail safes when achieving a goal is extremely important in so many ways. We go to set a goal and we know we're going to achieve it, and we're very invested in it. And that's exactly what life coaching is. It's an investment in ourselves to elevate from where we are to where we want to be in life, or where we envision ourselves. We have to at times let go of what's good to accept what's great. Now, you say, it's frustrating and it's difficult to follow. I most definitely understand that. However, we know ourselves better than anyone else. And one thing that will take place with coaching, true coaching, is the air of accountability. We are accountable for our own behaviors. And so with that said, when we start achieving and planning these large goals, we have to build the steps and the milestones to achieve them. And then we have to look at the smaller steps that have to be realistic and achievable to make sure that we're going to get to those milestones. But then there are always those moments where we end up in the space where we didn't know we were going to end up in, where we seem to fall short at times. And if we know that, then ahead of time, we can build in the fail-safes. Yep. Build the fail-safe. So with that, I want to give you guys an example, because this was a very real example, especially for me. It was starting my business. I failed more times than I have fingers. Yep. And it was because I wanted everybody to win in the beginning. And I had the bad habit, or the challenging habit, of getting everybody involved and hearing everybody's opinion at one time and trying to make sense of it on my journey to being successful. It didn't work. It didn't work, and every time I tried it, I failed. And I tried to move it around, I tried to disguise it, and at some point I had to be very honest with myself and take a step back. And once I took the step back, I realized there are no milestones here. There's nothing I'm achieving within 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, hell, a week. I have to do better. I have to do better. So, I started building in milestones. I started making sure that the foundation was strong. I started making sure that I looked at core values that I wanted to take with me along this journey. And the more I did that, the more I was like, oh crap, we're making it somewhere. We're making progress. And the more I did that, the more I realized, and the more things started to open up, because I knew myself. I knew what I was going to fail in doing. I knew my day-to-day behavior was going to be affected if somebody called me and said, let me help you with that. Let me jump on the bandwagon. I couldn't do it. I honestly couldn't do it. Not because I didn't want them to be a part of that journey, but I realized that that was just not the chapter for me to bring people in. Because I wanted to make sure everybody won on the ground level. And I don't even have a ground to stand on. It sounds selfish. But I realized that self-care and mental health were both needed at that point. And so I am addressing it, have been addressing it for years. I love it. I love it. I don't believe we should continue to navigate life without addressing our mental health. And with that, I started to notice success. I started to notice more intentional connections, and it became very clear that the more I was intentional about looking at my own behaviors and being proactive about making sure I didn't fall into those valleys or those pits, because I would do something maybe 15 or 20 or 30 minutes beforehand that would completely keep me occupied from me actually falling into that pit, that I started bridging those gaps. And I realized that that later became a strength because it was something I had to intentionally work on. I know, I went down a tangent. Let me come back and let me clarify. Okay. We set goals. They need to be specific, as well as measurable. Make sure we build milestones for ourselves. If we continue to run ourselves into trying to achieve a goal with no specific steps on getting there, it'll be more difficult. We lose our way because there is no path to follow. And your path will be like no one else's path. Nobody. Everybody's road to success is different, whether it be 1 step, 3 steps, or 5 steps. It has to be something you truly want to attain. Your why is bigger than life itself. It has to darn near scare you that it's going to happen for you to prepare to achieve it. And the smaller steps that you build into those getting to those milestones, they need to be realistic. They have to be realistic. If they're not, it becomes more frustrating for you, for us. And making sure that the goal is timely, not just for those milestones, but for the greater goal. It has to be timely. When do you want to achieve it? I want to complete this goal by what date? The first milestone I will put into place will take place 2 weeks from now, when I have completed step 1, 2, 3, and 4. I know my behavior, so I know that on Tuesdays I go for my walk and I walk past a restaurant that I know I shouldn't be going into. Not a restaurant, we have to stay safe. But I go somewhere where I know I'm not supposed to. What's your fail-safe? Walk a different direction. Explore something new. Bring your lunch. Cook before you leave home. Build a fail-safe. If you know that, some of the things that keep you from achieving your goals it is being on social media for extended hours of the day, and you kind of lose yourself in that, time yourself. Block it out. Dig a little deeper and find other creative ways of addressing that. And that would be one or a few ways of achieving that specific goal. So, I'm going to begin to wrap up here because I realized that we are running a little bit longer than I wanted to run. However, I want you guys to do 3 things for me. I need you to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I also need you to follow me on the podcast. The podcasts are follow-ups to the videos. And with that, next week, we're going to be talking about capacity. Capacity to achieve greater and to be very realistic with ourselves when we do not have the energy to feed certain people, behaviors, or events. We have to be realistic with ourselves because we planned 2020 and 2019 and we got something else. We are never going to go back to the way things were. We really have to look at how we can begin to change and evolve and build on what we already have. So with that, I want to share with you guys, continue to build strong, rise with intention, and thrive with courage and confidence.